everyone, this is Sandra. Welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to use some new products that I received in my Sephora VIB Rouge event haul. The last video I made, I used a few of them, and they're, of course, with any new product, first impressions is very important. Yes, if you love a product and you know it as soon as you use it, that's great, but there are a few products that I like to use a couple of times just to make sure that I love it, or maybe I didn't think it was that great to begin with and then I want to keep using it to see if I can get better results the next time. So we're going to do that today as well, and also use some new products. So let's get started. I had to triple moisturize today because again my skin is so dry, and honestly I have no idea why. I've been using overnight masks, I've been using facial sprays, I've been using multiple different types of moisturizer. So I mean, my skin feels okay. It doesn't feel tight right now because I just moisturized, but I don't know. It is what it is. So I am going to go in and prime. I'm just going to use this sample that I have to use it up and get rid of it. It's a Smashbox Original Photofinish Smooth and Blur Primer. So it's kind of like the purple one I have, but it doesn't have a color, I believe. I'll open it up and see. I think this one's just clear, but it is a silicone-based primer. Yeah, this one's clear. I'll show you. So there's probably a lot more product than I need. I mix it between my fingers, maybe on my hand, and just put it where I need some. I don't really feel comfortable opening these up and then saving them for later. I don't know, it just kind of, to me, it feels like it exposes it to bacteria, so I don't know. And this feels nice. I don't really like this one as much. I feel like the one that's like skin colored, the purple one, I feel like it's a little bit more thick. But this one, I'm hoping that it just smooths my face before my foundation. And I'm going to use an older foundation that I have. It's going to be my Too Faced Peach Perfect in Natural Beige, because I really want to go in with my Cocoa Contour by Too Faced again and just kind of play around with it and see. I'll probably do like a little bit heavier of a contour today. So I'm going to be using my Sigma Flat Kabuki F80 brush to apply this foundation. And I'm going to do it the way the famous beauty gurus do it. I'm actually going to put 2 pumps on my hand. 1, 2. And I'm just going to pick up a tiny bit on the brush here and just kind of smooth it out of my hand and start applying the product. So the shade is a little bit light, but we will darken it up with the bronzer afterward. Really like the way that this foundation applies with the brush. It just looks so nice, and that was 2 pumps. It's completely gone off the back of my hand. I managed to blend down my neck, and my skin looks all one shade. It just kind of evened out my skin tone, and it looks very natural without looking like I have no makeup on, because my spots are actually really covered well, so I'm really impressed with that. So I'm going to go in with my Jeffree Star Magic Star Concealer in the shade C14, and I really want to brighten up on my under eye. So this is going to be quite bright for me, which I love, and this one has a little bit of a yellow undertone, so that's even better for brightening. And I'm going to put a little bit right here where I have that dark inner eye corner there. And I am going to be blending this out with my Real Techniques sponge here. So I'm just going to delicately dab it and bring some up onto the lid. And as much as it kills me, I really want to set this down with my new Hourglass setting powder, my Hourglass Veil setting powder, but I want to try the highlighting shades in this Cocoa Contour palette by Too Faced, and I want to go in with that medium highlight because I think for an under eye overall brightening look, I think it'll work really good. So we're just going to go right in with the sponge as soon as this concealer is blended out. And then we'll see how well it works as a setting powder. Okay, so here we go. We're just going to rub it in the powder. So I've got some on my sponge and dab it on the eye. So I might actually go into the pink shade as well, just to see if it brightens as well. And I really feel like it's brightening up my under eye. Like this is the side that's set, and this is the side that isn't. And I think it looks really, really nice. And now my face smells like chocolate. Bonus. It's really all a girl needs, really. It's chocolate and coffee. This is my iced coffee from Starbucks. Alright, now the other eye. Yeah, this is really nice. This is why I miss those like really bright highlighting shades in my Tarte Park Ave Princess. For this reason, because they work amazing. And then really, instead of having to get, like, bring along if you're traveling somewhere, instead of having to bring along another setting powder, you have pretty much a 2-for-1, or even if you use this one as a blush, it's pretty much like a 3-in-1 palette, which is kind of cool. Okay, that looks amazing. I love that. Okay, so let's do the rest of the face. So I'm just going to go in with a small brush. I'm just going to use my F06 powder sweep to use in these little pans here, and just kind of set my face here. I love how bright this made my eyes look. It smells so good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's seriously bright under eyes. Whoa. I will be using those shades a lot more. Okay. So I'm just going to give my face an all over sweep now with my large F20 powder brush. And correct me if I'm wrong, like as I'm talking, I think the powder is like falling into my mouth, and I think it tastes sweet. I'm not going to try eating it, but I think I got a few particles of it. Okay, so super bright under eye, and that looked like that worked really, really good. And so usually you guys, like I've told you this before, usually when it's summer, I like an overall tan look. Like you can see my shoulders and my arms are super tan, and now my face looks like a ghost. So now we have to like bronze it up. So let's go in with these bronze, like for contour shades. I want to use my F40 for my cheeks and the rest of my face, but I am going to use, so sometimes I use this for my highlight because I like it, but I'm going to use it for my nose. It's the F64 Soft Blend Concealer, and we're going to start with the xoxo because I like to start there, and I'm going to start with the light contour, this one here. Just to kind of get that initial line going. So remember, you kind of start close to your ear in your hairline here, and you drag it down into the hollow of your cheek, wherever you have like a little bit of a dark color when you do that. And then once you get that initial line established, you can start to blend. And now remember, everybody's face is different. So for me, I like to kind of bring it up in like a semi-moon kind of shape to follow the natural curvature of my face. But depending on your face shape and the way that your jaw is made, you may not want to do that. You may just want to go straight down. Okay, and then I might take some of the deep contour, just a little bit on my brush, and I might put it closer to the hairline here. You can see how much darker that is. And then that's it. And then blend it out. Okay, so in doing this, I can say that I love this palette. Like, it's amazing. I love it. I'm officially wowed. I love the colors because you can mix them, you can play with them. And I've created a beautiful deep contour. And so this may not look completely natural, but I just wanted to kind of play around with it and see how deep I could get it. And of course you can go much deeper because I just put a tiny bit of that dark deep shade on my brush. But you can go much darker than that, especially on deeper skin tones. I think this is a nice color. So now I'm just going to use some of the dark and light. I'm just kind of going back and forth and mixing the two. And I'm deepening up my perimeter of my forehead here and bringing the shades down to my temple and then kind of mixing it into my cheek contour here. Okay, so now my face looks unbalanced because everything else is contoured except my nose. So I'll add a little bit under my jaw here. And then we're going to go in with this F64 brush. And I think I'm just going to, I guess I'll still mix them. I was just going to go into the light, but I don't think it would be dark enough for my skin. And when you're contouring your nose, you want to use a very light touch. Because yes, you can blend it out if you go too dark, which I have done in the past. But it's just easier to add a light touch and then add more if you need it. And I like to add a little bit underneath the nose here. And then of course we will go back in with highlight after anyway. Good. Okay. So I just want to kind of see what this color here, this deep highlight, would look like as a blush. So we're going to put some on my F10 powder blush brush. Tap off the brush. I think kind of for like a nice, And yes, it is a matte shade, but I think for a nice kind of golden blush, it's kind of like a peach shade. I think it's really pretty. It's not like overdone, and I could totally pull it off as a blush. And it'll still be very natural looking. And yes, this tastes good. I just tasted it again. Okay, so for actual blush, I'm just going to use my Benefit Coralista. And this does have a little bit of sparkle to it. Or a little bit of shimmer, should I say. So I do still want to put bronzer all over my face because I really want to try out my Marc Jacobs bronzer. But I'm just going to blush first. And then we'll apply the bronzer over top. Okay. So with my bronzer, I am going to use my F30 powder brush. So I think this is a big enough brush to use with this compact. So I'm just going to pull this out because I don't need it anymore. It's so big and it's so pretty. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of dab it in there a little bit. Tap off the brush and put some on my forehead. I don't know about anyone else. If anyone else that watches this, if you've smelled this product before, it's supposed to smell like coconut, but I detect a faint hint of cinnamon. I totally smell cinnamon. So I can already tell that this is a very light bronzer, but I think it's perfect if you want to go in with a very natural looking finish. It's not going to make you look overdone, and it'll be really, really nice on light skin tones. And I like it. And especially too in winter, I think this would be really nice. Because you know how our skin pales out in winter? That'll be perfect. So I'm just going to go straight into my highlight, this guy here, the shade Cookie, and then we will set the face with the setting spray. So I'm going to use my F35 tapered highlight brush as per usual. Go into this highlighter here. So we will keep this actually perhaps for the inner corners. We'll see what we have to work with in our palette. Okay, so now we're going to use my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. Remember to always shake up your sprays before you use them. And the skin looks really, really pretty, looks very, very glowy. It doesn't look unnatural. It looks very, very nice. And as you guys know, I love Anastasia, Beverly Hills brow product, anything. So I did go in with my favorites, my Brow Whiz in medium brown, my Dip Brow Pomade in Taupe, which is the new color I have, and then the clear brow gel on top just to hold everything together. So they look really good, and they're very, I don't want to say they're dark because they're dark, but they're not as dark as when I use the ash brown pomade, which is super dark, but they're still kind of like boom in your face, which I like, especially when I do like my eye makeup and I have some liner on, and then I also do like lashes, which we will be doing today. And just to show you, I'm going to use these Morphe lashes in Bel Air. They are not the premium lashes, but I just want to try these. And just so you guys know, if you do end up going to the Morphe store in West Edmonton Mall, these were only $4. So get some because it's a really good deal. Okay, so we're going to showcase the Natural Lust palette today. I'm very excited to use this, and I really have no idea what I want to use. Sorry for the reflection there. I want something sparkly, I know that. And I kind of want to do dramatic, but at the same time, I don't know. So we're just going to start by putting in a crease color. So I'm just going to take, of course, my Sigma Tapered Blending E40. Wow. Okay, and then we're going to go in, actually, before we even do that, let's take our E50 fluff brush. I'm just going to put Silk Robe, which is this color here. Sorry for the reflection, just right here, all over my eye, just to make sure that it is completely set and that all of the other shadows glide smoothly over my eye. And this is not a sparkly base, it's very matte, which I like. Okay, so we're going in with the E40, and we're going to build it up, I think. So, I went in with Silk Robe, and I don't want it pink, so I'm going to go in with Afternoon Delight here, which is kind of a very neutral starting off crease color. And now this is going to be very blown out, so I'm not being too specific about the product where it goes, but it is in my crease, and I'm not too concerned if it kind of comes up higher toward my brow bone. And then you can see a very slight definition of color, which is what we want. And I'm just kind of doing back and forth motions, but I am also going in soft little circles just to really blend out that color. I picked a light enough transition color. It's going to blend into that first shade I put on my lid really, really well. Okay, so using the same brush, I'm going to go into this one right next to Afternoon Delight. It's called Embrace Me. We're just going to go into that and deepen up the crease a little bit now. Then I am just going to pull out my F20 just to do this, to wipe away any fallout if any occurs. Alright, so now, ooh, the temptation is great. And I really like neutral looks, and with this palette you can pull off a lot of really neutral looks, but I don't know if I want neutral. So I'm going to take a smaller brush now, and I am going to wet the brush. So I'm going to use my firm shader, it's an E57, and I am wetting my brush with, let's see here, I think we're just going to go in with some MAC Fix Plus. And I'm going to go in with the shade Peacocking. So now it's completely not neutral. It's a shade right here, so the only kind of blue teal shade in the palette. And I'm putting this on my wet brush so it shouldn't go anywhere, which is kind of what I want. And I'm going to smudge this on the outer portion of my eye here. So I guess when you're doing this, be really careful because it kind of started coming off in one spot, so I just kind of pat it into the eye. I'm just going to put a little bit more Fix Plus on my brush, and we'll go in on the other eye here and see how it applies. Okay, that actually looks really pretty. Okay, so that's it for now, and we're going to blend it, but we're going to let it dry first. And actually, while we're at it, let's go down. We're going to line the lower lash line. So I'm using my Morphe Richie pencil, which is just like a pencil liner. And I'm just going to put some on the lower lash line. And all this is a brown pencil, but I really like it. It's become one of my new favorite pencil liners. And I tend to put a lot of product on because I kind of like when it goes into the lashes, and then when you do your lower lash line, it kind of, you can blend it into the shadow. So we are going to bring that color down on the lower lash line now that we have that pencil applied. And I'm just applying it for now, but I might blend it out when we apply the rest of the color to the eye. So we're done with that color now, and now I kind of want to do, I wouldn't mind doing gold on the inside, but I just want to make it look a bit more natural. So instead of gold, I might try going in with the shade Oopsie Daisy, and it's kind of like pearlescent with like a rose undertone. So I'm just going to check it out and see how it applies. So for this one, I'm also wetting my brush, and I'm using my medium sweeper E54. And we're going to see how well it blends into this shade on the lid here. So here's Oopsie Daisy. So I'm going to say it's kind of like a gold shade. Oh, it's actually quite pretty. And I'm just going to lightly dab over top the like blue-green color just to kind of blend them together. Okay, and then what we're going to do is take a much smaller brush. This is the E21 smudge brush. I'm going to go in the same color, Oopsie Daisy, and apply it on the lower lash line, meeting that bluey green color in the middle of the lash line here. And again, kind of mixing them and blending it in the middle. And then we're going to go back in with that brush we applied the blue-green color to. Going back in the color just a little bit. You know what? I might even go in with a smaller brush. Let's take one of my Morphe brushes here. I know I've got some smaller brushes. So I'm going to take the Morphe M506. It's just a little bit of a smaller fluffy crease brush. And we're going to kind of delicately blend the edges of peacocking to kind of blend it out and bring it to the outside edge of the eye here. And now just kind of to clean up, I'll show you here. I'm going to take this clean pencil brush just to kind of clean up this little edge right here. I'm going to go back in with Silk Robe and just kind of clean up that little edge. Then I'm going to go in with the initial brush that we used and just put a little bit more of this Embrace Me shade and just kind of blend right above that color. So I think I have the eyes to where I want them, and I think it looks really, really cool. One thing that I want to point out, and I'm not going to do it now because I don't, like I'm just going to be going out running errands and like going to the post office and getting a couple groceries. So I don't want to do this now, but for date night, I think it would be so cool to dip into the Tarte High Tide Good Vibe palette and actually put this gold sparkle champagne beach shade right on top of the gold on the lid, and I think that would just look so cool. And or even like opposite and put Aquaholic, which is this like teal sparkle color on the outside. I think that would look really cool, but I really like the shade of this teal. It's not like like a full-on teal. It's almost kind of like a gray teal, which I'm in love. I'm obsessed with this look right now, and I just think it looks very sophisticated and just really, really pretty and really defines the eye. So now that we are done with the eye, I am going to go back in with my highlighter palette. I was going to use one of the shadows in the palette, but I decided to just use this instead. So I'm going to go in with a clean pencil brush. I am actually going to spray the brush with some MAC Fix Plus. I'm going to dab it, gently into the highlighter here so I don't gouge it out or anything. And I'm just going to put a little bit of highlight on the inner corner. I just think that looks so pretty. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then as well, just a little bit underneath the eyebrow here. And ideally, you would probably want to stick with a shade from the palette, only because the palette is kind of designed for that. A lot of the shades are kind of matching already, so if you dive into a different palette, you don't know if the undertone is going to be the same as the shadow, in which case you can see here. So this is, even though this isn't a pink tone at all, it's more of like a champagne tone, it still doesn't quite match the gold. And actually I kind of like it, only because the inner corner is much bright because it looks more pink compared to this gold on the lid. So because of that, it kind of stands out just a little bit more. So if that's something that you're looking for, go ahead. But that's just kind of a little tip. I'm going to do mascara and lashes. So I was gonna like crack open one of my drugstore mascaras that I have, but then I thought, well, I kind of have a lot of open mascaras, and you know how once they've been open they tend to dry out. So I'm actually just gonna go in with one of my sample Tarte Man-Eater mascaras, because I'm applying lashes anyway and you won't really be able to see them. So let's go ahead and do that, and I will be right back. So here is the completed eye look. And look at those lashes. I've never had lashes that curly before, and they kind of look all one length, which I'm not really used to. I like the wispy ones where either they're tapered on the inside or they're just a bit more natural looking. But yeah, those are crazy. So that's the eyelashes and the mascara applied. So now we're going to quickly do lips. So I do have a light balm. Which one is it? It is the glossy coconut balm that I usually put on. And again, this is almost gone, so it makes me a little sad. So I'm going to line my lips with my, can you guess? My Milani Color Statement Lip Liner in 09 Spice. Let's go in and line the lips. And I will be using my Too Faced Peach Perfect matte lipstick, and this is Sunday Funday. So it's very, very nude. So I just want to see what it looks like here. I just did a little overline there. Okay, so that is my lips just a little bit overlined and with a nude lipstick, and I really like these lipsticks. I have a couple of colors, but this is like the nudest one I have. And let's see, I think it's just by the Peach Collection, or the Peach Perfect Collection, but I don't know the actual name. But I think it's like the Comfort Matte lipstick. And yeah, I like that color, and I think it looks really good with this look. So that is the completed look. I feel like the eyelashes just kind of hide the eye, but here's the eye look. Very, very pretty, very sparkly. I love that green color too. So if you guys also have this, let me know what you think. Show me some looks. I'd love to see what other people are doing too. So yeah, if you guys have this, let me know and put it in the comments below, and like this video if you enjoyed it, and please be sure to subscribe if you haven't done that, and also click the bell button to be notified every time I post a new video. So I will have some more looks. I kind of want to play with the Jaclyn Hill palette and also maybe the Vault palette from Morphe a little bit more. I've only played with them a little bit, and I want to do some really cool looks for you guys. And I think they're just so versatile. There's so much you can do, and I think I just want to kind of mix and play with all of my palettes that I have. So I think it's going to be really fun. So keep it tuned for my next video. We will see you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.